Wake up! Wake your asses up! Hey everyone! Welcome back to Rewinding the Week with K and J.
Hello everyone. Hope you guys are enjoying the week. 3 presidential debates down. Well, 2 rather, since 2 of them were a town hall. But we have a guest on our show. A special guest. Our first live guest. And he is a dear friend of mine and to the show. Welcome our rewinders, Brannon Edwards.
Welcome.
Hey everyone. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I feel so honored to be
of course.
amongst some distinguished gentlemen. I look forward to the conversation.
Oh, thank you. We are looking forward to...
Because I am such trash.
We are looking forward to...
I'm here to bring dignity to the
Yes, to the balance. We are going to be talking about voting today. The topic is your vote, but your voice? Question mark, okay? And we wanted to tap in with Brannon Edwards. He did a great job, 3 weeks ago, talking about the importance of voting and why it's important. So consider this like another talk.
Thank you so much.
About the importance of voting.
That's awesome.
So before we get started to the Grab Your Glasses, we're going to promote our Kings and Queens segment, and that this is where we support Black businesses. So we will be talking about Leigh Style, who is a dear friend of mine. She is our queen for the Kings and Queens segment. She has handpicked vintage garments. We wanted to shout out her business of fashion. Leigh Walters, my friend, has a site online about styling and fashion, vintage garments. She has dresses, rompers, tops, bottoms. And
now that's priceless. That is priceless.
Yes. So she has sweaters and blazers. Friends, this is Leigh Walters. Leigh, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to hear your voice.
Yours too.
Thank you for joining our show, Rewinding the Week. And so we were talking about your website. Your website is dayleigh.com. That's DAYLEIGH. style.com. And I want you to ask some questions if possible.
Of course, yeah.
What inspired you to start your own vintage garment site?
Okay. So, I have been donating clothes to the thrift store since I was a child. I would always go into the thrift stores with my mom with large bags of clothes. So that introduced me to the thrift store. And then when I was in my early 20s, I started actually thrifting, getting my outfits from the thrift stores, and I would start going to vintage stores, really shopping there, really loving their selection, preferring vintage stores over regular retail stores because the items are one of a kind, they're more stylish, you don't look like everyone else. So yeah, I would shop at a vintage store called Keeper's Vintage in Baltimore. I would shop there all the time. I've been shopping there since I've lived in this area for the past 6 years. And long story short, or long story longer, I would always sell clothes on Poshmark. So I started selling clothes on Poshmark when I was about 7 years ago, and then I started doing it again about a year ago. And then I said, hey, maybe I could, actually start selling vintage on Poshmark. So I started doing that, and then I realized, I might be onto something, and people around me convinced me to start my own website.
That's awesome. And I checked out your website. I remember when you launched it, I was so proud of you. I was like, that's
Thank
my
you.
friend, go friend.
Thank you.
Me and Leigh, we worked together, and we would create our own little kind of podcast together with the couch. You remember?
Actually, you created that, and I'm like, you're on to something. I didn't create anything. Jamal just said, this is our show, and we would just start chatting away.
It was great. We sold out on seats all the time, right?
All the time, every day.
So you started a vintage fashion business during the time of COVID. Right now, you don't really see a lot of people going out, or they're staying in at home. So how was it starting, your own site and business during this COVID environment?
Right. Well, technically right now we're working from home, which gives me a lot of downtime to like brainstorm, to think, and then when I have time, I just have more energy and more time to create now. So that's the upside of working from home for me right now. I had a great turnout when I first launched, and I've been gaining followers. Business is slow because things aren't normal right now, but I try not to let that discourage me from still working, because eventually outside will open back up again, and people will remember like, oh, I can get an outfit from Daily Styles. So
yes, I think that is great. If either you need an outfit for your Zoom date, the interview, or just a night out, you have options, especially on your site. And before I let you go, any words of encouragement for someone who is thinking about starting their own business, whether it be fashion or art, any words of advice or encouragement?
Yeah, I just want to say it's crazy that you're asking me that, because I can't believe I started my own business. But I'll tell you what encouraged me to do it. I would say get around people that are walking in their passion, get around people that are working towards their passion, working in their purpose, is what I'm also trying to say. Get around people that expect the best out of you, and get around people that accept you.
All right,
I think that'll help you flourish.
All right, so get around some positive people and people who want to build you up and see you succeed. Leigh, I thank you so much for taking the time.
I have one more question.
Our co-host has a question for you. Hold on.
Just one more. Hi. So, do you happen to have some vintage fishnet? That is what I'm looking for right now.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
no. Okay, we're going to talk offline. Maybe we can find some.
And now I'll know to look for that now.
Thank you so much.
Leigh, we'll have our people call your people.
No problem. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
No problem. Take care.
You have a good night. Bye.
All right.
That was
guys. The Queen Leigh. All right. She's such a warm presence to be around. I enjoyed working with her. I was so happy when she stepped out on faith and launched her website as well as her vintage clothing. So big ups to you. Definitely check her out at Daily. That's LEIGH style.com.
All right.
All right. So before we grab our glasses, I want to play a game with Brannon and Ken. So, we've seen these memes of on Facebook or Instagram or whatever about one gotta go. And normally it's like a food deal, like mac and cheese, rice, it's something like that. Which one gotta go?
All right.
So I want to play this just to kind of dive before we dive into going into the topic of
Can I interject?
voting. Go ahead.
If you don't vote, you gotta go.
Oh, friend.
I mean, that. Hey, he said it.
He did say it right.
That's all right.
You gotta go.
Definitely true.
Okay.
So please go out there and vote.
So we're gonna do 4. Okay.
4 questions.
4 questions.
Okay.
All right. So one gotta go. Your phone, streaming platforms, the internet, or hot showers. What do you think, Kay?
Ooh. So I'm not actually tethered to my phone. I feel
can tell
like
you that he's not.
Yeah, I feel like that is something that actually can go. I need some good relaxing hot showers. I need to be able to stream my Netflix. I need to be able to work. And do some other extracurricular activities online. So I would say that the phone can go because I still have other means of communication. Yeah. So that's my take.
What about you, friend?
I would say streaming can go.
Okay.
Because on the phone, I can do everything.
Okay.
I can watch videos, engage in extracurricular activities.
right.
And still feel connected to friends and family. So the streaming I could personally do without.
I can see that.
Okay. So the phone encompasses everything.
So is there a streaming that you primarily use, a streaming source, like Netflix, Hulu, or?
Probably Netflix, between Netflix and Hulu.
Okay.
So that was it. So I could, if I had to give that up, I could. It'd be easier for me to give that up than my phone or some internet, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Because I can do internet on my phone.
That's true.
This is true. So it's kind of like ties in together. So I would do.
Now, if you're talking about an old-fashioned, just a flip phone.
It's the Motorola Razr.
Yeah,
you gotta go.
Even the Razr was advanced. So
that thing was bulletproof.
Yeah.
Back then it was advanced.
And if you had a Razr, you were the shit in high school.
That's
That
true.
mean you had money,
right? Because that Razr was like $300.
Yeah, man, you had
which,
money.
by the way, now is the Apple phones are what $1,000, $1,200. So $300
No.
Yeah.
I'm fine with my iPhone 8.
You gonna get a 12?
No, no. I'm gonna pay this 8 off.
They were supposed to know that.
Keep listening, subscribe. So if I was to say one gotta go, don't judge me. I would say showers, hot showers.
Okay.
No way, because I'm a bath person. I like to relax. I like to sit down.
That water would be cold too.
In the tub?
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think
it does get cold, but I like to just relax, put that Epsom salt up in there, that Dove.
So you could do without hot bath too.
No, I want hot baths.
Okay, well, see,
Not
you
hot,
can't
it's hot
have
showers.
Wait a minute, you can't have hot bath with.
Well, it
without
says
hot
showers, not hot.
Hot baby.
Oh,
You know, they trying to comfort me, y'all. Because you know
I
what?
don't like to be cold, so that wouldn't work for me. Period.
See, I
I
don't
would
mind.
not think you would like to be cold. I would think you would like to be bundled up.
If I could create something,
really,
it would be a water blanket. You could lay like a little blanket that could get wet and stuff. You just chill in the tub for a little bit with the blanket.
interesting.
Come on, Shark Tank.
Listen, we all had varying answers, so
We're
write them down, people, so you guys can email us.
and I
what
do
you think.
shower, okay? I just like a bath.
He does
clean,
I-
but it's a shower bath.
Hello.
Yeah.
So next one gotta go. Skittles, Nerds, Starbursts, or Airheads.
All right, Brandon, we're gonna let you go first.
I would say Airheads. That was a really tough one. I would say Airheads because it's so between Starburst and Airheads, they both kind of get stuck in your teeth a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and Starburst is not as much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I chose the Airhead because there's more of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was a tough one though.
What about you, friend?
Well, let me preface this by saying I have done sexual acts with a couple of these candies.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Airhead is one of them.
So I will say I'm not really too much of a fan of Starburst. It's only so many flavors that I like, so I think that we can go. But I do love a good Skittle, Nerds. I think of like Skittles and Nerds are always Halloween candy for me. It's not something I just go out and buy, but yeah, I think Starburst can go.
Is that because it's not as much sexual fun?
Yeah, I mean, listen, because it's a square. Then you got to it's some things you have to do. You have to wrap it around.
It does stretch. I would say Nerds. You can miss me with that crunchy stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Skittles is kind of like M&M's.
Mm-hmm.
Just no chocolate for me. That's Skittles. I remember when they had the sour Skittles. Oh my God, those were good.
Really? I think it gave me a stomachache.
Really?
I mean, once you get all the sour off, it's like your stomach is. For me, it was great.
Skittles just help you taste the rainbow. I
There's that.
would say Nerds can go. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, I got this. The one gotta go. Stay Home deck online. So you guys
I thought
check
we
it
had
out.
4.
Oh yeah, we do have 4. So let's do the rest too. Okay, so one gotta go. Deodorant, toothpaste, soap, or toilet paper.
Okay, I'll take this first. Toilet paper can go because I personally use flushable wipes.
Hello.
I do not want my booty hole cut by the toilet paper. So I use flushable wipes and the toilet paper can go. And if I need to, use it as a means to like blow my nose or something like that, you have other ways you can, not nasty ways, but you have, other ways that you can do that. But I personally feel like toilet paper can go. And it's also better for the environment. We use so much toilet paper.
I do the wipes too, so toilet paper can go.
So they said toilet paper / wipes, then what?
Ooh, friend adding an E to this.
You're making this too easy. I'm talking about a bath, not a shower.
Exactly. You're right.
Shower, you stand, sit.
Okay, so if that was the case, and then the other options were toothpaste, what was the other one?
Deodorant.
And soap. So I enjoy. So I go down the line. I definitely enjoy a nice smile.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's not going anywhere. I need a toothpaste.
Yes.
Soap can basically cure everything. So I think that it's safe to say that deodorant can go because you can use other products, natural products, to make a deodorant. So I'm gonna say deodorant can go.
Okay. I would say deodorant will go because the soap can be the deodorant.
Right. He's like,
so
he's not wearing no deodorant.
This is just hypothetical, right?
Right, but it's interesting. It is interesting.
What did you say, Fred?
I would agree. I think deodorant as well. I feel like soap is a good substitute for deodorant. I think if you bathe often, daily, more than once a day, I think that will be sufficient.
Yeah, you notice what activities you're doing. If you're very active out, and because some people sweat a lot and it doesn't really affect them under their arms. It's just, for me personally, when I sweat, it's a lot of like pores coming out in the forehead, on top of the head. But as far as like my sweat glands up under my arms, they're not as that's not so much of an issue.
Right.
Versus other people may have that to be an issue. Mm-hmm. So it just depends.
All right. And our last one before we dive in, we'll grab your glasses. Mm-hmm. Alien invasion, a yearly purge. Robots become aware. 6 months of winter every year. Which one gotta go? Alien invasion, a yearly purge, robots become aware, or 6 months of winter every year. I'm gonna say
go ahead.
6 months of winter. And if I was in school, like elementary school, high school, middle school, college, I can deal with the winter if it's gonna get me out of class.
Right.
Not if I gotta drive in it or telework. Mm-hmm. So you could take the cold. Some people like cold, and I like the cold. I'm a February baby. I like the cold, wearing the pea coats and all that. But I only would want that if I was little. Or didn't have responsibilities to drive in it and clean it off my car. And it's cold. You gotta let your car warm up for about an hour before you even get it started. Get started with the day.
Okay.
What you think?
I would agree. 6 months of winter can go.
Hello. Goodbye.
It's interesting that you guys are okay with these alien invasions and all this. I was like, what? So for me, I think that the alien invasion can go. I can, it's a way to remedy that 6 month of winter y'all talking about. Just hibernate a little place. So that's a way to fix that. The second thing is it depends on when it comes to a yearly purge, what are we purging? If we're talking about like violent people and violent things.
Like the movie.
Like the movie The Purge. Okay, well, we just have to prepare for it. I am literally gonna go underground and not come out until then.
I'm just gonna get tickets to the country that don't do it.
Right. I'm like, I'm out. I'm completely out for the whole month. So you can kind of get around that. So I'll rather take the other things than the alien invasion, because we don't know if that was the case that happened, if they're going to be nice or nasty. No one has time.
Oh, nice, nasty.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all. I just wanted to play a little game. Also, this is a black-owned business as well, so just something to shout out.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, now it's time that we get to the nitty and gritty. Your vote. Is it your voice? Mm-hmm. Are you being heard when you vote? And so, again, we're joined by a friend of the show and a friend in my life, Brannon Edwards. And we are drinking Old Vine Zinfandel. Okay. And what do you guys think of the wine?
I find it to be very refreshing. Mm-hmm. I'm getting some earth tone vibes of some oak in there,
I can get the
which
oak.
is pretty good, and it's easier on the palate, at least for me today. So, I personally like it. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's different. If I do red, I'm more of a Merlot, a Cabernet. But this is good. It's smooth. I definitely can say it's smooth. What do you think? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely smooth, and I love the way it looks. Actually, it looks so elegant and classy.
It does.
I think for me, I prefer a little bit sweeter if I was choosing one, but I think it was a good choice.
Okay.
I think it also sets the tone of this distinguished show, and it kind of gets you in a relaxed state, but not so relaxed where you can't have a conversation of substance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, and this election year and what's been going on has called for wines,
and hard liquor,
right? And so this is what we're talking about. So, yesterday I voted by mail, so I dropped it in the Dropbox. And took a picture, and then I walked by today, and I saw that they were officials in vests and everything. Went and picked up the ballots and everything like that today, and I had voted yesterday. So I felt good to do it. I wanted to join the line, no lie, I kind of did, but it was long, and I already had the thing mailed out and stuff. So what about you, Ken?
So I actually voted today, you guys. I went during my lunch break, and the experience, it just makes you realize how much the world has changed. Prior to, or BC, before COVID, you would be able to stand in this line and, stand close to people and things of that nature. Now is, of course, social distancing, wearing your mask, which is great. Definitely want people to do that. I tell you guys that every week. But it's just it's a different setup as you're voting. So I had the opportunity to vote in person, and the line was rather long, wrapped around. It was a library that I went to, but it took roughly an hour and a half to get through the line and get in to vote. So I feel good about it, great about it actually, and I'm just hoping for the best, and it feels good to know that I've done my part and ahead of the curve of election day, because I definitely don't want to brace those lines, but I just felt it to be important that I was there in person to cast my ballot.
Okay. Why do you think voting takes so long? Like, he had to wait an hour. Do you think it's partly because of maybe people also doing it on their lunch break, or is it because maybe voter suppression in the counties where there's only one place where you can vote, which is going on in certain parts? I think in Texas as well. What do we say to people who are waiting hours in line, not and outside at that? Like, should we encourage them to stay in line, or what do you say to somebody who's waiting for a long time for voting?
It's important to realize that you have to assess your own health and well-being, And if standing in that line for a long period of time is going to be an issue for you, then I recommend, of course, doing an absentee vote or mail-in voting, so you can get that done. But yeah, you just have to gauge what is best for you and your health, because we are in various parts of the country. You know, at least today for me, I was standing out and it was 80 degrees. The sun was beaming, but you know, I just felt it, and I was okay with that because I felt it important to be there. But everybody doesn't have that type of setup, so I just say for those who are preparing to vote, do the option that is best for you, but do that. However you get it done, just get it done.
Right, I think making a trip of it with friends.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not registered in that county or even that state, is just say, hey, let's bring some snacks. Let me wait with you. Let's get this music on. Let's, you know, support one another while we wait.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It also makes it makes time go by fast.
That's
in
true.
a way. And also you have that strength in numbers just in case somebody do try and get nuck if you buck. Those polling police that certain organizations are trying to promote. So, you know, definitely don't think you have to do it alone. I mean, you have to vote alone, but you don't have to go alone.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's something to consider.
And, you know, just seeing that there's like efforts to stop mail-in ballots as well. And it's like, y'all are really so threatened by, and because they know who's going to take advantage of those mail-in ballots. And those be minorities and women and people who really are taking COVID serious and don't want to be in those lines or close up to people, because who really can say we're socially distancing 6 feet in a line, and then if you say something you might, you know, cause a conflict and things like that. So I think whether you do it by mail, absentee, or wait in line like Ken, definitely understand that you are taking part in something that can be a solution or part of the problem as well.
That's true. Well, Mr. Brannon, your thoughts?
So my thoughts is, so first of all, just to go back to what Jamal said. So Jamal, dear friend here, did share with me that he was doing his mail-in voting, and on the mailbox it had these Chinese language and stuff like that. At first I'm like, is this ballot going to China?
Fred did. Yes, he did.
I've never seen that mailbox with Chinese letters on it before. But I would say, so first, I haven't voted yet.
Okay.
But I will vote because I don't vote in the jurisdiction that I live in.
Okay.
So actually I vote about 5 minutes from here. So I'm either going to vote tomorrow or I'm going to do it Saturday.
Okay.
I'll be here, friend.
Okay, and I'm just going to stand, if I got to stand in line, I'll stand in line. It's just because of work schedule and stuff like that. So that's just, but I will vote. It would have to be a this tragedy, God forbid, that would keep me from voting. I also think that voting should, ideally, I don't think there should be long lines for when it comes to voting. I think that ideally we would have a process where we're trying to make it easier to vote, not more difficult to vote. Now, this year is a little bit unprecedented, of course, because we have the pandemic and we have more people voting early and utilizing mail-in voting more than ever. So, in a sense, our quote-unquote system wasn't designed to handle these long lines. But sometimes, even on election day, there's long lines.
Yeah.
But I do think that we should find some way to make it more efficient, more easier to vote, not more difficult.
Right.
Now, that's a whole nother conversation as to why it's difficult to vote, especially in certain communities versus other communities. Also, we're willing to wait in line for things that we really want.
Those Jordans.
Come on, Black Friday. Don't you call me out.
I was like, those new Jordans.
Maybe. So I think that it comes down to all of us making voting the cool thing to do. Rather that you go with your friends. Rather that's, you be creative with how you vote. I think as a society, if we can make voting the cool thing to do, then people are more prone to do it.
That's good.
because people don't have a problem waiting in line for those Jordans,
That's
waiting
true.
in line for Black Friday. Matter of fact, you got people in tents camped out sometimes a night or two before
For that TV.
For the iPhone.
For the iPhone.
That's
The
exactly.
malls
The
open
iPhone
early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though, I hate to see that these long lines in one hand, but I love seeing it too.
Yes.
I love seeing these long lines because
too.
people are truly invested in the democratic process and democracy, and it's unfortunate that there have been so many efforts to try to suppress the vote, but it's also comforting to know that it hasn't been working that well either.
Yeah, exactly.
Even those fake ballot boxes outside up in California.
Exactly.
And it's like, if somebody's so good at what they doing, you shouldn't be doing all that. You wouldn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As I sip my wine.
Exactly. And I think the end of the day is, I think that we need to come back as a country, society, and make voting, it shouldn't be so divisive. It needs to get back to a truly fair and equitable election.
Cool.
Even if that means your candidate loses. But just have an honest election.
Yeah.
One thing I always wondered why this, if we talk about the foundation of this, quote, democracy and this democratic government, which really is a federal republic, why not make, voting a federal holiday where you do have these places that are closed that so people can get out of here. Some people have to take leave,
They do.
annual leave, sick leave, admin leave for this process. So I feel like, why not make it a holiday or a federal holiday? You have, Columbus Day and all these other days. Why not honor President's Day? Why not honor the day that gets presidents elected? So I think that should be a push now for citizens to their members of Congress to say, I don't want to have to use leave. I got to account for the time to leave my job and get to the polling place, then wait. I mean, some of those places be open till 9, 10 o'clock because people still trying to get to the line before the cutoff.
I completely support that, to have a national holiday. Even if we don't have a national holiday, I think that we should at least pass legislation where it guarantees everybody pay time off to vote.
Yeah.
So even if it's not I feel it should be a national holiday. But if it's not a national holiday, at least, hey, if you work in, those type of jobs that don't give you that time to vote, then those jobs should legislation should make those employers do that.
Yeah. I mean, at least offering 3 hours out of that work schedule to allow time to
Paid
vote.
leave.
Paid leave. To vote, because it's so important to exercise your right, and nothing should be getting in the way of that. So it should. I agree. It should be a holiday, and if not, it should be paid leave. But we need to be out there.
So my next question for us would be, why is it important for people of color and also women to vote, who make up less of the majority of the population?
I don't think we got that much time in the show.
That's a loaded question.
Okay, well,
I will say,
can we narrow it down to why we think in like 2 minutes? What can we say?
okay, I'm gonna get my 2 uninterrupted minutes.
Okay.
And push the mute button.
Yes, yield my time.
So I think that voting is important, and in terms of if you're a minority and women, or if you're a minority and a woman, is important because it shouldn't matter what the percentage of the population you are. At the end of the day, everyone is equal. So rather you just 1% of the population, 0.5%, you still should have the same opportunity to vote just like anyone else. And I think it's important to vote because it's important for, of course we've all heard those arguments that our ancestors fought for the right to vote, for us to have the right to vote, and that type of thing. That's very, very true.
Correct.
And very important. But it's also important because even if you're not involved in politics or you don't care for politics that much, the political process, these elected leaders, what they do affects everyone. And so that's your opportunity to have a say into what happens in your society. Yes, you are one vote, but you one vote, you add that one vote to another vote to another vote, and that's how you express your voice. And I just think it's very important because what do you have to lose with not voting? You know, why not vote? Why not exercise this right that for some, especially if you're female and minority, there are some people, many people in this country right now who don't want you to have that right.
Exactly. Right. And
They want
to
to keep you
from
suppressed because what do the oppressed like to do? The oppressed like to suppress. Right. You know. So what do you have to lose? Why not vote? It's your opportunity to really express your voice, and it's a small but important way where you can make a difference.
Hey man, friend, I'm being in line with you.
You can be in line with that's right.
I'm gonna call friend. Like, friend, are you outside the voting area? Because I'm coming to go see friend.
Yeah. Now I have heard arguments as to why some people don't vote and stuff like that.
But no, you know, I have heard those arguments as well. But I personally never feel like those are valid. You know, you can go through so many different reasons as to why you are not voting, but we have various options, right? From mailing to even today when I was in line for those that are, you know, handicapped or have struggles there, they had curbside voting.
Yeah, they do.
So it's almost like, what excuse are you giving? And any excuse that you are giving, is it truly that, you know, unless you're just sick in the bed, can't do anything of talking or whatever the case may be, you know, I just don't see how those excuses are valid. But that's just me personally.
I agree. I would think because they may feel like I'm just a number. You know, I'm not a constituent, really. You know, and I would say to that is, well, how have you done the research? You know, have you contacted the office about something that they said they were going to stand for, but they didn't stand for? Something they said they were going to vote for, and they didn't vote for, or they voted against, or whatever. Like, are we making those calls to hold them accountable? Are we also knowing, as many people who don't even know what their member of Congress is? You know, they just see the letter D, R, or I for independent or Green Party or whatever the case may be. But are you connecting with that person and their interests? So when you say, why is it important? It's important because it does involve you. Because eventually, if you especially are black or a man of color, a woman of color, or just in general, those policies ultimately, in a way, affects us first, heavily.
So how do you reach someone to convince them to vote if they come back and tell you that either neither candidate is someone they support, they don't like them, they don't like either one. So should a person in that regard or in that context, should they still be forced to pick somebody that they ultimately don't support?
No, I say that if they don't support either person, you have an option to write someone in.
Correct.
Write that person, at least exercise that right to vote and say, okay, I don't like either party, but I do think that this particular person is somebody that we should support. Even if you put down Mickey Mouse, you have exercised your right to vote, because we all know how everyone has, you know, especially in the minorities, especially when it comes to women and African Americans, how much of a struggle it has been to get to this place. So not being able to at least exercise it right, for me, I just don't see how that is a thing.
So what do you say to someone that says, "Oh, well, I know the person I'm writing, and they don't have a chance of winning anyway. So what's the point?"
So I had a conversation. If I could just say, I had a conversation with somebody who, you know, and for me, in my mind, in my head, it would be, if someone says, "Well, I'm still undecided," or "I don't know, I'm not really feeling this person," or whatever. I'm like, I mean, how long did you have to make up your mind? In a way, but I have to listen to that person and say, okay, well, what are your concerns? You know, I've heard from the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne, who said, you know, sometimes you have to vote your interest and not the person. You know, so what I did with that particular person was say, well, here is their website for the candidates, presidential candidate or House of Representatives, Senate candidate. This is where they stand on these issues.
Right.
So you may not like that person, whoever it may be, or the vice president, whoever they may be, or your member comments, but see where the issues lies with what aligns with your interests. For family, like someone said, don't just focus on abortion and gay marriage and things like that. There's other things on the ballot as well that you have to look into. So what I did was just say, hey, I'm going to send you their websites or what they have about the economy, taxes, healthcare, and you have to do the research for yourself and then take it from there, because I think if they're undecided, I may not understand it, but that I'm not in their shoes. So the best thing for me to do is say, well, this is the information I have, and I'm going to give you their direct sites, nothing like fake or anything like that to make one side look bad, but just to help that person make that decision. And if they still feel the need to do the write-in, then they still feel
or not vote at all. Then as a friend or a person that is concerned about their interests, I feel like you've done all that you can do to kind of get them to that place, and just realize that everyone is an individual and that they hold we all hold different values. So that's my take on it, is that I wouldn't feel complete if I did not provide that information to the person and say, this is what we have, like you said, about the interests and things. And if you have provided it to a person that's still like, I'm not going to waste my time voting, then I feel like you've done your part.
You've done your part. And one thing is, people say, well, you do that's a vote for this person. And just to say, whatever my friend vote, might not be who I want, or vice versa, whatever, that's going to still be my friend. Because 2016 tore people and families apart. So right. And out of still even in that, I might be a little like, but just to show, okay, well, what's next? What do you think, Brannon?
And I would say, and this is what I like what you guys said about the interest, because if you say hypothetically had someone that says they don't like either candidate or the candidates, whatever, yes, you could definitely write in someone, as you mentioned, Ken. And I think just to add to that, what I would also say is oftentimes, I feel like we have to look beyond the person. So sometimes just look at that person as that person might be the face of that particular party. But what party or what side, for lack of a better term, more aligned with what you care about? So it's not about, say, okay, you have Donald Trump and Joe Biden, of course, running for president. Okay, so if I took Joe Biden out, what does Joe Biden's party represent? What does Trump's party represent? So, okay, I could care less about, can't stand Joe Biden. Right. But guess what? I might care about my health care. I might care about social issues. I might care about, those type of things. And on the other side, hey, I can stand Trump. But hey, I care about my Second Amendment. I care about those taxes.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Say, and many people, and that's one reason that I feel that Trump was able to get through in 2016 is because not only did some people not turn out to vote, and some people this time might still support Trump because I don't really like Trump. He's not a good person. However, I like what they're doing about the Supreme Court. Making sure that court is conservative. Making sure that my taxes stay low. So oftentimes the election is it's about so much more than the actual person who's running.
That's true, because the president can't do much without Congress.
Voting for let's not forget about this Congress, the Senate, all those things.
And don't forget about your local people. So, that was a great discussion, guys. We are just happy to talk about this because this is something that needs to be talked about.
It's serious.
It's very serious. And definitely do the research of understanding that, it is your voice. When you vote. It is, And like we touched on, don't just focus on the executive. Look at legislative and look at your county, your school boards, and things like that. Like, if you want a part and you want to say voting, going to those council meetings, going to those town halls, also not only provides your voice but your presence as well, and where you can raise those concerns. I have this quote from National Geographic, and they said, your vote may not directly elect the president, but if your vote joins enough others in your voting district or county, your vote undoubtedly matters when it comes to electoral results. Remember, it is the Electoral College, not the popular vote, that elects the president of the United States. So find out your polling places, friends, if you haven't done so already, at vote.gov. You can also go to news1.com /category/the black ballot. You also can go to voteamerica.com. So that will conclude our Grab Your Glasses segment. So thank you, Fran, for joining with us.
Yes, thanks, Brannon.
Vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that when you vote, hold the person you vote for, assuming they win, hold them accountable once they get in office.
Yes.
You know, those platforms that they're running on, you can do your part to make sure that those policies are carried out. And that will also by default, make you have more of an interest in what's going on. And if you're not a person who's into politics at all, and like you guys mentioned, it's just important to vote because it affects every one of us.
Very true.
And especially being in a black and brown community, being minorities, not only have people fought too hard for us to vote, like we've discussed, but also we don't, at least for me, it's like I don't want them to win, quote them, and I don't want them to have more power over us, because essentially that's what many on the other side, they don't want you to vote. And we have to push back against that, because if we don't, we are allowing ourselves to be even further controlled. So that's why it's important that we all exercise our right to vote. And I look forward to you waiting in line with me.
Yeah, talk about it, friend. Thank you
so much for having me.
Live guest on the show.
Honored, and
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And by this time this show airs, the third presidential debate would have happened. But those are also important to look at. And if you forgot about it because you're listening to this on Saturday, YouTube it. You got to November 3rd. So thank you, friend. Give me a hug.
Thank you.
Okay.
It is all great. All great.
you,
Of
man.
course. Thank you
Happy
for
birthday,
coming.
too.
Thank you so much. Oh, y'all, the birthday's coming up.
Oh,
Let's
that's
talk
what
about
go
that.
to pop the corn.
So we are moving on to our Pop the Court segment. Mr. J. Jamal is going to talk about his Pop the Court here.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yes, so guys, pop the court. So next week on Tuesday, October 27th at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live, I will be joining again with the Jameer Smith Show, as well as the Gay Professional Men of Color, GPMC, to host an interview, an event with Alexi Minko. He is the owner of Alibi in Harlem. That is the last black-owned gay bar in New York City. The segment is Black, Gay, and Nowhere to Go. And that will be a virtual event on Facebook Live. Working with Jameer again, it's a true honor. I learn from him every day. I really appreciate him helping me through the questions. This is my first interview where I'm interviewing somebody and doing it on the scene as well as behind. So I'm very honored to do that. So check us out, October 27th, Facebook Live at 6 p.m.
Awesome.
And I also want to say, for my Pop the Court, happy birthday to Ken.
Thank you, Fran.
It is.
I'm getting old, y'all.
It's Ken's birthday, And coming up on Monday is old Scorpio. So we just want to, I just want to shout you out, Ken, and say happy birthday.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I am going to do something real cute with the friends. And then just keep it moving, not doing too much.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken is going to be celebrating, and we're going to be honored to have him. We're honored to have him as my co-host and as a friend. So I'm glad that he will be celebrating. Ken, do you have a pour that out for us?
I actually do. So going back to me voting today, I was in line. And this older white woman was in line in front of me, and she had a cane. So I was a little concerned about, because where we were standing had inclines, and she was trying to make sure she had something to move up against. So that was a little bit bothersome until she opened her mouth. She said, "Oh, you know, I'm definitely here to vote for Trump." And I was like, okay, you know, I'm kind of tuning it out. And then a little later, she gets a call, I believe, from her daughter, and I heard her daughter say, "Mom, they're going to cut the lights off because they just called me." And she was like, "Oh, we have until tomorrow." And she was like, "Yeah, but we don't have the money." Now, mind you, I could hear the conversation because it was so loud on her phone. And my thought was, now, your personal situation is your personal situation, but you're going to go vote for Trump. What has he done for you? You know, your lights are getting ready to cut off. What has he done for you? So it just made me, you know, kind of think like people are really out here voting for someone who doesn't have their best interests at heart. And I think that is really sad. But, you know, she went on to cast her ballot, and I cast mine, which is definitely not Trump. And I kept it moving, but I just wanted to pour that out because I'm like, on one hand, you're talking about who you're voting for. The other hand, you're getting your lights cut off because you're not getting the assistance or help you need from this president that you're getting ready to vote for.
So. Staying still on the stimulus package, man, is unfortunate. People are hurting, and people need extra funds and relief, especially Black-owned businesses and LGBTQ businesses as well, where they have to depend on the community and GoFundMe pages to survive. You know, and you know, Disney laid off almost 28,000 people.
They did. They laid off a lot.
It's something that, you know, a discussion hasn't even been. I mean, discussions have been happening, but no action as far as in voting, at least on the Senate side. So thank you, friend, for pouring that out.
Sure.
Before we wrap up,
okay.
My motivational quote.
Let's hit it.
Is from Martin Luther King Jr. And Martin Luther King Jr. says, "Voting is the foundation stone for political action." Again, voting is the foundation stone for political action. So keep that in mind for you guys as you continue on with your journey through 2020 up until it's time to go to the ballots or mail in your ballots, and then after to get involved and inspired.
I had a question.
Go
Can we vote for the WAPs?
They are in this house, Fred.
Put my name on the ballot. All right. So we have enjoyed you guys. We know this probably was a little longer episode than we typically do, but we wanted to make sure we got that issue and the importance of voting to you guys, because we want to make sure that everyone is participating. And if you're not going to participate, then you've heard us. You know?
Thank you for listening to us.
And thank you for listening. So tell everyone where to follow us, Jay.
Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. We appreciate you guys when you do that. Comment, like, share. We are on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, Google Podcasts. Thank you guys. Can you play us out, please?
Of course.
Thank you. You guys take care. And thank you again, Brandon. And thank you again, Lee. for dailystyle.com, our queen. Thank you guys. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Got that walk, got that walk, got that walk.